Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
So let's get started and make English easy. So Eric, what are the words today?
The first word today is attentive. Then we will continue with awkward. And in return for. Then have to do with something. And the final one is so far, so good.
Okay, let's start with the first word.
The first word is attentive.
Attentive.
Attentive is an adjective that means paying close attention to something or someone and being careful to listen or watch.
When we say someone is attentive, we mean they are focusing and listening carefully.
Exactly. Let me give an example sentence. The students were very attentive during the interesting science lesson. It means that the students listened carefully and paid close attention to the science lesson. Now it's your turn, Lisa. Can you give us another example?
Sure. The waiter was attentive to the customer's needs during the meal. It means that the waiter carefully watched and listened to what the customers wanted during their meal.
That's right. Now, let's talk about how to use this word. We often use attentive with the preposition to, like in my example, attentive to the customer's needs.
Good point, Eric. Now let's hear a short dialogue using the word attentive.
Your son, Tom, is a pleasure to have in class.
Really? That's good to hear.
Yes, he's always very attentive during lessons.
I'm glad to hear he's attentive. He sometimes struggles to focus at home.
Well, he's one of my most attentive students. He always listens carefully.
That was a good example, Lisa. It shows how we use attentive to describe someone who listens and focuses well.
Yes. And it also shows that being attentive is important in school and for learning. So now we've heard attentive in a conversation. Let's talk a little about how this word is used. Eric, what would you say about attentive? Is it a common word?
I think it's common in everyday speech, especially when talking about school, work, or being polite. It's a bit more formal than saying someone is just paying attention.
I agree. You'll often hear people say someone is attentive, like a waiter in a restaurant who makes sure everything is perfect for the guests. It's a polite and positive word.
Right. You could say, the waiter was very attentive, or she was an attentive listener. It's a great word to use when you want to show someone is being very careful and considerate.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered attentive pretty well. Shall we move on to our next word?
Yes, let's do that. Remember, listeners, being attentive while learning English will help you improve faster.
Great reminder, Eric. Okay, what is the next word?
The next word is awkward.
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 Eric, can you tell us what awkward means?
Sure, Lisa. Awkward is an adjective. It means feeling uncomfortable or not knowing what to do in a situation. You can feel awkward when you don't know what to say or how to act.
Sometimes when we don't know how to behave or what to say, we feel awkward.
Let's use it in a sentence. My sentence is, there was an awkward silence after John told a bad joke. It means that there was an uncomfortable or embarrassing quiet moment after John's joke.
Great example, Eric. Here's my sentence. It was awkward when I dropped my phone during the meeting. It means that I felt uncomfortable because everyone was looking at me when I dropped my phone. It was a little embarrassing.
Okay, here's an example dialogue using the word awkward.
Did you have a good time at the party?
Not really. I felt awkward because I didn't know anyone.
Oh no, that's awkward. Next time I'll introduce you to more people.
Thanks. That would help. I hate feeling awkward in big groups.
As you can see, both Sarah and John used the word awkward in the conversation. John felt uncomfortable at the party because he didn't know anyone.
Now, let's have a short conversation about the word. Eric, do you think awkward is a common word?
Yes, I think it's very common, especially when talking about social situations. Many people feel awkward when they don't know others at an event or when something embarrassing happens.
I agree. Would you say it's formal or informal?
I think it's more informal. We use it a lot in everyday conversation, like when we're talking with friends or family.
Exactly. You wouldn't really use it in a formal report or essay, but it's perfect for casual conversations. Also, do you think we can use awkward to describe both people and situations?
Yes, you can say, I am feeling awkward, or the situation is awkward. Both are correct.
That's a good point. So, remember, awkward is a useful word for describing uncomfortable situations or feelings, and it's used mostly in informal contexts.
Good summary, Lisa. Well, that wraps up our second word, awkward, for today.
Okay. Well, what is the next word, Eric?
The next word is in return for.
In return for.
In return for. This phrase is used when someone does something and you do something back for them. It shows an exchange. One action happens because of another.
That's right. When we say in return for, we do something for someone. And they do something else for us in turn. Let's give 2 example sentences now to understand it better. Eric, what's your example?
Here's my example. He gave me a ride to work in return for helping him with his homework. It means that he drove you to work because you helped him with his homework earlier. Lisa, can you give us another example?
Sure. Here's mine. She gave me her notes, and I bought her a coffee in return. It means that she helped me by giving me her notes, and I did something nice back for her. I bought her coffee in return.
Now, let's talk about how to use this phrase. We can use in return alone or in return for, followed by a noun or ing form.
Good grammar point, Eric. Now, let's hear a short dialogue using the phrase in return.
Thank you for watering my plants while I was on vacation, Tom.
You're welcome, Mrs. Brown. It was no trouble at all.
I'd like to do something for you in return. How about I bake you a pie?
Oh, that's very kind of you.
It's the least I can do in return for your help.
Well, in that case, I'd love a pie. Thank you.
That was a good example, Lisa. It shows that in return can be used both with and without for in a sentence. Like in the dialogue, I'd like to do something for you in return or in return for your help.
Good explanation. So, Eric, do you think in return is a common phrase in English?
Yes, it's quite common. People use it often when they're talking about doing nice things for each other.
Yeah, I agree. Is it more formal or informal?
I'd say it's neutral. We can use it in casual conversations with friends and in more formal situations. And I think it's an important phrase for English learners to know because it helps learners express the idea of giving back or saying thank you with actions.
That's right, Eric. It's a key phrase for talking about social interactions and being polite. Okay, well, I think we've covered in return for pretty well. Shall we move on to our next word?
Yes, let's do that, Lisa. The next word is have to do with something.
Have to do with something.
Have to do with something. Have to do with something is an idiom. It means one thing is related to or connected with another thing. It is used when we talk about a connection between two things.
Yes, for example, if something has to do with another thing, It means there is a relationship between them.
Exactly. Now let's give some example sentences. I'll go first.
Sure, go ahead, Eric.
Here's my sentence. Her bad mood has to do with the long day she had at work. It means that she was in a bad mood because she had a difficult and tiring day at work. One thing, her mood, has to do with the other thing, the long day at work.
Great example. Here's mine. The meeting has to do with the new project we're starting next month. This means that the meeting is about the new project. The topic of the meeting has to do with the new project.
Right. Now, let's hear a short dialogue to show how it's used in conversation.
Do you know why we're having this meeting today?
I think it has to do with the new project we're starting soon.
Oh, that makes sense. I thought it had to do with budget cuts.
In the dialogue, Sarah and Tom use has to do with to talk about why they are having a meeting.
Yes, and Sarah found out the meeting had to do with the new project.
So, Eric, do you think have to do with is a common phrase in English?
Oh, definitely. It's very common in both formal and informal situations. You'll hear it in everyday conversation, at work, and even in news or articles.
I agree. Would you say it's formal or informal, Eric?
I'd say it's more informal. You hear it a lot when people are talking casually, but you can also use it in work settings. It's not super formal, but it's not too casual either.
It's a really helpful phrase because it's so flexible. You can use it in many different contexts, and it works well when you're trying to explain connections between things.
Exactly. So remember, when you want to talk about how one thing is connected or related to another, you can say it has to do with that thing.
Well, we have reached the last word of today. Can you tell us the last word, Eric?
Sure, Lisa. The last word today is so far, so good.
So far, so good.
So far, so good is an idiom. It's used to say that things are going well up to now or that there hasn't been any problem yet.
When we say so far, so good, we mean everything is okay until this point in time.
Exactly. Let's give some example sentences to show how it's used. Here's my sentence. We've been driving for 2 hours, and so far, so good. No traffic. It means that for the last 2 hours of driving, everything has been going smoothly. There haven't been any problems like traffic jams, so I say so far, so good. Now it's your turn, Lisa.
Here's my example. How's your new job? So far, so good. I like my coworkers and the work is interesting. It means that, up to this point, the new job is going well, and there are no complaints or issues. Now, let's hear a short dialogue using the phrase, so far, so good.
How's your science project coming along, Tom?
So far, so good, Mrs. Johnson. I finished the research part.
That's great to hear. Any challenges?
Not yet. So far, so good with everything.
Excellent. Keep up the good work.
That was a good example. It shows how we use this phrase to give a positive update on a situation.
Yes, and it also shows that so far so good can be used multiple times in a conversation.
Absolutely. So, Eric, do you think so far so good is a common phrase in English?
Yes, it's very common. People use it often when talking about ongoing situations or projects.
Is it more informal?
I'd say it's quite informal. We use it a lot in casual conversations, but it might not be suitable for very formal writing.
Good point. Is there anything you would add, Eric?
Yes, Lisa, it's really easy to use in different contexts. You can say it about your work, a trip, or even how you're feeling during the day. It's simpler than saying, everything is going well until now.
Thank you for your short summary, Eric. Well, hello, everyone. We focus on keeping things very easy to understand. So, if you're learning English and think it's hard, stay with us. We promise to make it easier for you.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we love making learning fun. So, get ready for some interesting dialogues and chats.
Today, we will learn 5 words as usual.
The first word is to avoid. Then we will continue with purpose. Ordinary. To be upset. The final one is to get rid of.
Okay, we'll start with the word to avoid.
To avoid.
To avoid. It's an important word that can help you in many situations. What does it mean, Eric?
To avoid means to stay away from something or someone because it could cause trouble or harm.
Yes, like when you see a puddle of water on the ground, and you walk around it because you don't want to get your shoes wet. You avoid the puddle.
Exactly, Lisa. Or when you know eating too much candy is bad for your teeth, that's why you don't eat it. You're avoiding getting cavities.
Okay, let's have a look at our example dialogue.
Look, Tom. That big dog looks a bit scary. Let's cross the street.
Good idea, Sarah. It's better to avoid any trouble.
That was a simple example of how you can use to avoid in a sentence. Sarah and Tom decided to cross the street to avoid the big, scary dog.
That story about Sarah and Tom avoiding the dog was interesting. Lisa, have you ever avoided something like that?
Oh yeah. Once, there was a sidewalk covered with birds. I took a really long way to avoid them, but even though I changed my path, the birds still followed me. At first, I was very afraid, but then I stopped and I liked and patted the birds. It was a really nice experience for me. What about you, Eric? Do you have any story you have avoided?
Definitely. When I was a child, I avoided the kitchen late at night because I thought I would see a ghost. Can you imagine what I imagined? Seeing a ghost? Then, when I didn't see any ghosts, and understood that ghosts don't exist, I stopped avoiding the kitchen at night.
Wow, I can imagine you were walking on tiptoes to avoid the ghost in the kitchen. It's funny.
Yes, it was very funny to walk like that.
And Eric, we don't use to avoid just bad things. Sometimes we also avoid to save time, or just to feel safer.
Right? For example, I avoided going on a long holiday last year because I didn't want to spend a lot of money.
Or I avoid sleeping for a long time to study enough for my exams.
Yes. By the way, Lisa, did you notice that we use ing form if we use a verb after to avoid?
Yes, Eric, like avoiding sleeping for a long time or avoiding going on a long holiday.
Please be careful when you use a verb after to avoid. Okay, let's move on to our next word. Purpose.
Purpose. It's a simple word, but very important. Purpose means the reason something is done or used or why someone does something.
That's right, Lisa. For example, the purpose of a knife is to cut things. It's used for that reason.
Exactly. And when we talk about people, we might ask, what's your purpose in learning English? It means, why are you learning English? What's your reason?
Yes, Lisa. Now let's move on to our example dialogue.
I bought this new book to help me with gardening.
Oh, that's great. What's the purpose of the book?
My purpose is to learn how to grow vegetables in my backyard.
That sounds like a useful purpose.
That dialogue shows Mark using the book for a specific purpose, to learn about gardening.
Yeah, it's a good example of how knowing the purpose of something can help us understand its importance. Lisa, have you ever bought something with a special purpose in mind?
I have. I bought a planner to organize my day better. Its purpose was to help me manage my time. How about you, Eric?
I bought a special lamp for reading at night. Its purpose was to help me read more easily.
It was a practical solution, Eric. And do you like reading at night?
Yes, I do, Lisa. As long as I find time, I try to read at night, in my bed before sleeping.
That's a very good habit, Eric.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, let's talk about our next word.
Next up, we have the word ordinary.
Ordinary.
Ordinary means normal or usual, nothing special or different.
Right, Eric. An ordinary day might be waking up, going to work or school, and then coming home. This is what happens most of the time, and it's nothing unusual.
Exactly. And when we say something is ordinary, we mean it's just like everything else, not special.
Let's listen to our example dialogue.
Are we doing anything special this weekend?
No. I think. It's just going to be an ordinary weekend. Maybe watch some movies and relax.
That sounds good to me. Sometimes ordinary weekends are the best.
That dialogue really shows how ordinary is used to describe something typical, like a weekend.
Yes, and there's something beautiful about ordinary things. Eric, can you think of something ordinary that you really like?
For me, having an ordinary breakfast with coffee and toast. It's a simple way to start my day. How about you, Lisa?
I enjoy taking ordinary walks in the park. It is a simple pleasure that always makes me happy and energized.
It's amazing how ordinary things can be so meaningful. It tells us how important the simple things in life are sometimes.
Yes, Eric. Some people like to live a very ordinary life. They avoid living a complicated life. They can get enough of the ordinary things.
Exactly, Lisa. And for our listeners who are learning English, remember that it's okay to start with ordinary sentences. That's how we all start learning.
That's a good point, Eric. When learning English, it's best to start with ordinary and simple sentences and then build up to more complex ones. Now, let's talk about the phrase to be upset.
To be upset.
To be upset. When someone is upset, they are sad or angry because something unwanted has happened.
Yes, it's a feeling we all experience sometimes. For example, if you didn't get the job you wanted, you might feel upset.
Or, if you lose your favorite toy, you could be upset because it was special to you. Let's listen to our example dialogue.
Why are you upset, Mia?
I lost my phone at the park. It had all my pictures on it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see if we can find it or a way to help.
That dialogue shows Mia feeling upset because she lost something important to her.
It's common to feel upset, and losing something valuable can really cause us to feel upset. Lisa, how do you usually handle it when you feel upset?
I try to talk about it with a friend. Sharing my feelings usually helps me feel better. What about you, Eric?
I'm similar. Doing something different, like going for a walk, can help me calm down and think more clearly.
Eric, are there any other ways you cope with your emotions, besides walking or talking to a friend?
Definitely, Lisa. For example, listening to music or writing in a journal might be some options. Music can be really calming, and writing helps me understand why I'm upset. It's like having a conversation with myself. How about you?
Yes, I find that doing something creative like painting or crafting helps a lot. It changes my focus and helps me express my feelings in a different way. I also find that watching a funny movie or show helps me feel better.
Do you have any other methods?
Absolutely. And it's important for our listeners to know that there are many ways to handle feeling upset. Trying out different things can help you find what works best for you.
It is interesting how some activities that make our hands or our minds busy can help us manage our feelings of being sad. Yes, Lisa, let's move on to our last word. Our final word for today is get rid of.
Get rid of.
Get rid of. It means to remove something you don't want or need anymore.
That's right, Eric. For example, when you have old clothes that don't fit, you might get rid of them by donating them to someone who can use them.
Exactly. Or, if you have a headache, you take medicine to get rid of the pain.
Yes, Eric, let's look at our example dialogue.
This old desk has so much space in my room.
Why don't you get rid of it? You could sell it or give it away.
That's a good idea. I'll see if someone else can use it.
That example shows how Carla decides to get rid of something she no longer needs, making space for something new.
Yes, getting rid of some things can be really effective sometimes. Eric, have you ever had to get rid of something?
I have. I got rid of a bunch of old books I no longer read. I donated them to the library, and it felt good knowing someone else might enjoy them. How about you, Lisa?
I recently got rid of some old kitchen gadgets. It cleared up so much space. And I realized I didn't miss them at all.
It's interesting how getting rid of things we don't need can make us feel happier and more organized.
Definitely. Also, remember that getting rid of old habits that do not help you learn English can be very helpful.
Great point, Lisa. Getting rid of some bad things can open up some new opportunities.
Exactly. Well, listeners, we end today's episode of English Explained Simply. We hope you found our explanations and examples helpful, and that you're feeling a bit more comfortable with these English words.
Absolutely, Lisa. Remember, learning a new language is all about taking small steps and being kind to yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's how we learn.
True words, Eric. We love hearing from you, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts, stories, or even words you'd like us to explain in future episodes.
Before we say goodbye, we want to thank you all for joining us. Keep practicing. And remember, we're here to help make English a little bit easier for you.
Yes, thank you for spending your time with us. We'll be back with more words to explore, more dialogues, and, of course, more chats. Until then, take care and keep learning. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.